It was good. I feel like I thought he was gonna stop Montiel, but I mean, that shows us that there's flaws in his game too. He's talking about everybody else has flaws, but he has flaws of his own. So if he went, he got cut. He got a bad cut on the eye, so he got his own flaws to worry about too.
I saw that day you posted. You're like, I'll stop this dude.
Yeah, I mean, because I feel like I would, man. I feel like I would, but it would be a great fight. I'm not saying it'll be easy, but I know I could stop Charlo. And everybody else, I'm going for the knockout. I'm going for the kill with everybody. As the years go by, I'm getting older. I'm getting stronger, so I'm excited for what comes to the future.
If you could have a dream fight this year, who would it be?
I feel like this year it will be Charlo. That's a fight I
more
want.
than Canelo.
Because I know Canelo. He's going. He got his own things right now. So I feel like I believe on myself, but I'd bet on myself. I'd double down on myself. I'd get Charlo. I'd beat him, and in that fight with me and Canelo be way much more bigger. Can you imagine that if I get past Charlo, I stop him? How big would me and Canelo versus?
Huge.
It would be big. So I know what I bring to the table. I know what I'm capable of. So. That's the dream setup for me.
Would that be at catch weight or would that be at 168?
I mean, if they talk about 160, I'll make. I'll probably try to go down to 160. If you really want 160, I just I want my people to believe in me, and I'm here to stay. I'll fight whoever and whenever.
So David Benavidez tells Jermall Charlo, "I'll probably move down to 160 to make the fight." I'm telling you. The walls are closing in on Jermall Charlo. Benavidez continues to eliminate every single excuse/demand by Jermall Charlo in order to make the fight that everyone wants to see. And as Jermall Charlo continues to backpedal, Benavidez continues to catch his bluff every single time. But it's fair to say we have arrived to the end of the rainbow. There are no more excuses that Jermall Charlo can make. If Benavidez is willing to move down to 160 and Charlo still declines the fight, then Charlo is well on his way, on a fast track in fact, in order to join Ryan and Teofimo Lopez Witness Protection Club. Charlo will officially be known as Ryan Garcia 2.0 because simply you do not bark if you're not willing to bite, which is exactly what Ryan Teofimo Lopez and now Jermall Charlo exactly did. Furthermore, Benavidez telling Charlo he's willing to move down to 160 in order to make the fight. It's such a powerful move because that will cut off Jermall Charlo's last escape route. So now Jermall Charlo is cornered to either fight Benavidez or wave the white flag. So what you gonna do?
Bad boys, what you gonna do? Or what you gonna do when they come for you?
What you gonna do when they come for you? Is Jermall Charlo gonna be a bad boy or a good boy? Like Gennady Golovkin loves to say. I'm telling you guys, it really can't get worse for Jermall Charlo. He did it to himself. He woke up a sleeping giant when he tried to break his neck. And now Benavidez is in the process of ruining Jermall Charlo's reputation without even fighting him, which makes it worse. Like I said before, slowly but surely Jermall Charlo nickname is changing from the future of boxing to the past of boxing. If Charlo does not take this fight and ends up not getting the Canelo Alvarez fight either. Charlo does not want to end up being a prima donna. However, the more he wait, the more he do. With that being said, what I really can't comprehend is what Jermall Charlo is waiting on, because he called out Benavidez a year ago. Now, to his defense, Benavidez had a title then. However, even after Benavidez lost his title, Charlo came out and said, "I will break his neck." But it all went downhill when Benavidez put a date on it. I remember like it was yesterday. Charlo wasn't just making demands when it came to fighting Benavidez. He was making poor excuses. And I say that with all of the respect. Y'all remember the vaccination demand? We found out shortly after Charlo himself wasn't vaccinated. I never ever heard someone demand his opponent to take a vaccination, especially when they are not vaccinated themselves. I actually remember when I had David Benavidez on split decision, and I asked him about the Charlo fight, where he responded by stating that Charlo doesn't really want the fight. He's making excuses about vaccination, etc., etc., etc. So I ended up asking Benavidez, do you really think he was serious about the vaccination demand? Because I thought it was a joke. That's when Benavidez responded by stating, I don't think he is, but why say that? Might as well ask me for my GEDs too. So even Benavidez was giving Charlo the benefit of the doubt. However, the next day, Jermall Charlo goes on live, doubling down on the vaccination demand. It wasn't until he received a whole lot of backlash for making such a silly demand that he started retracting his statements, claiming he was joking and that people can't take a joke. Now, it's one thing for Jermall Charlo to try to restore his reputation by retracting his statements, but it's another to backpedal out of the fight with Benavidez, because now the vaccination demand and Charlo not wanting to fight anybody under 25, those didn't sound like jokes anymore. Now those sound like some serious statements in order to find a way out of the fight. Because back then, Jermall Charlo was claiming he's going to move up to 168 because he want to fight Canelo. And even if Canelo moves up to 175, he's going to move up to 175 too. It wasn't until Benavidez came into the equation. That's when Charlo completely canceled his plans. And thanks to Benavidez, he got Jermall Charlo off Canelo's back. So Jermall Charlo went from claiming he's going to move up to 168 and fight Benavidez to stating that he is not moving up to 168 anymore. He's only willing to fight Benavidez at a catchweight. So I had the pleasure to talk to Benavidez Sr. on split decision, where I asked Benavidez what he thinks about Jermall Charlo latest demand of fighting Benavidez at a catchweight. Surprisingly, Benavidez said, if he's serious, we are willing to fight him at a catchweight. We are willing to do whatever in order to make the fight happen. However, a few days later, Jermall Charlo backpedaled yet again. In other words, Benavidez called Jermall Charlo bluffing yet again. So by that point, Jermall Charlo came to the conclusion, in order to get Benavidez out of the equation, the only way is to stay at 160. So that's when Jermall Charlo started to plan to announce he's only going to fight at 160, and if you want to fight me, come see me at 160. See, Jermall Charlo had thought, since Benavidez is too big for 168, there is no way he gonna fight me at 160. And we know that's the case because just a month ago, Charlo offered Canelo to fight at 168. And this month, he announced he's only gonna fight at 160. Well, we have bad news for Jermall Charlo. Benavidez may move down to 160 pounds. So at this point, Jermall Charlo only has two options. Fight Benavidez, or he may want to consider moving back down to 154, which at this point, nothing will be surprising. Whatever Charlo does wouldn't shock me, because nothing tops the vaccination demand, if you ask me. This is why Charlo has to fight Benavidez in order to fix his own reputation. Like I said before, the difference between Charlo, Ryan, and Tio is that Charlo was avoiding Benavidez, but Benavidez was a fighter in a different division. However, with Benavidez's latest statement, Jermall Charlo officially will join the Ryan and Teofimo Lopez club, which the sad part is, I never thought I'd see the day. I really thought Charlo was cut different. But when he started to claim he don't pick his opponents, however, he sent in Gennady Golovkin offers and he picked Montiel, that's when it's disappointing. To see Charlo do whatever it takes by desperately trying to avoid fair criticism, making comments that makes no kind of sense at all, as if we are living in the Stone Age. Jermall Charlo must realize he can't continue to make silly comments and expect the fans to believe him. Because eventually, even if he start telling the truth, he's going to end up becoming the man who cried wolf. With that being said, a fighter like David Benavidez, hate him or love him, you have to respect him. Respect is earned, not given. And Benavidez been earned his respect. He's an old school type of a fighter. What you guys have to realize, Benavidez does not want to fight Jermall Charlo because Charlo is the weakest link. Absolutely not. It's actually the contrary. Benavidez said he prefers to fight Charlo over Caleb Plant and everyone else because Jermall Charlo is the most dangerous. It's a 50-50 fight, and he want to deliver to the fans the best fights that they want to see. And after Charlo's last performance, I know Benavidez does not think the fight is 50-50 anymore, which is part of the reason why Benavidez is willing to risk it and move down to 160 to fight Charlo. But like Benavidez said, instead of chasing Canelo, let's fight each other. That way, the winner will be a mandatory to fight Canelo by the people, which is more powerful than being a mandatory under an organization, since Canelo has a witness protection franchise going on. Nevertheless, I really respect David Benavidez's willingness of making his advantage a disadvantage, putting himself in harm's way to lose 8 pounds by moving down to 160, a division he never campaigned at his entire life, in order to deliver the fight the fans want to see. However, I strongly disagree with that decision. I'm not a fan of the idea of David Benavidez fighting at 160 pounds because of the fact he never fought at 160 his entire life. Benavidez, he could make 168, but he could hardly make 168. So how the heck he's gonna lose 8 pounds and fight at 160? If I'm being truthful, David Benavidez with zero body fat, I don't even think he can make 160. And if he does make 160, he's going to be a walking zombie. That's why I'm not a fan of the idea. I want to see a good fight, but I also want to see a fair fight. And Benavidez versus Charlo at 160, it's just not a fair fight because of the fact Benavidez never made 160 pounds his entire life. He never fought at that weight. So at the very least, a catchweight should be more than enough to please Charlo, since that's what he asked for to begin with. That's more than fair if you ask me. But Benavidez at 160, going up against Charlo, one of the best fighters in the world. I mean, let's face it, it ain't like Jermall Charlo, an average Joe or a slouch. Jermall Charlo is a killer in the ring. I know his last fight, he didn't look too good, but we already know what Jermall Charlo, at his best, is capable of. We've seen it against J. Rock Williams and Devyachenko. So in all honesty, as bad as I want to see the fight, I do not want to see the fight at 160 pounds. Benavidez at 160? That don't even sound right. I think that's a bad decision. I think that's a bad call. So I really hope if we do get the fight, it's at least at a catchweight. Nevertheless, let's see what Jermall Charlo has to say now. With the facts being stated, drop your thoughts in the comment section below. what is y'all take on Benavidez moving down to a division he never campaigned at, while already being a big 168 pounder? Subscribe below and click on the notification bell to be continued on the next episode of Akhi TV. Peace, and I'm on to the next one.